I will be brief in my remarks because I want to hear from Governor Barber, and I am grateful that he would take his time to come here to Florida today and speak to us. We are excited about the work you're doing in your state and for our party across this country. We know we're going to hopefully win a bunch of more governor seats around, or governor's mansions around the country. Thank you for being here with us today. Can't wait to hear from you in a minute. I want to be brief and to the point. Are you a tracker? No? All right, just I want to be... I didn't know anything about that until I started running for office. This election all elections are important. Every single election has mattered in the history of our country. But for the last 234 years, Americans have built here in this country the most exceptional society in all of human history. We should not be embarrassed to say that America is not just unique. It's quite frankly better than anything else that has ever existed in the history of mankind. I don't even know what to compare it to. I guess the Magic Kingdom, right? I mean, there's nothing else to compare it to in all the history of the world. We are simply the freest people that have ever walked this earth. You realize that tonight we are meeting here to criticize the President of the United States in the strongest possible terms. And yet in most societies in all of human history, and in many today, if you have a meeting to talk bad about the government, the police comes through the door and arrests you. The fact that we are even gathered here today, or that we're going to have an election in November, is a testament to an extraordinary freedom which is unique and rare in all the history of the world. You realize also that we are the greatest force for good, at least in the last century. You think about every great cause that has faced humanity over the last 100 years, every single one of them America's been involved in. It's young American lives that have been lost on foreign battlefields, not for treasure or for land. We didn't turn Japan or Germany into states. Americans have died and continue to do so even on this day for the freedoms and liberties of others, because we are a nation founded not on a common ethnicity or a common religion or even a common language, so to speak. We're a nation founded on a principle that says that your rights as a person come not from your government or from your king, they come from your God. We are the most prosperous people in human history. Something that is clearly evident in the story of Rick Scott that he told just a moment ago. But also in your lives. I would venture to guess that every single person here today lives a better life than their parents. And you do so not only because they worked hard and sacrificed and gave things up so you could have opportunities they could not, but you do so because you have the privilege and the honor, as I do, of being a citizen of the single greatest society in all of human history. A place where anyone from anywhere can accomplish anything. A place where people drew business plans on the back of a cocktail napkin and drew their life savings and opened a company and made it successful. A place where people open up businesses in the spare bedroom of their homes, oftentimes in violation of the zoning code. And one day sold shares of that company on Wall Street. But you see, this greatness was not an accident. It didn't happen because God loves Americans more than he loves other countries, and it isn't because we're smarter than everybody else. It happened because we made choices. Because those who came before us made choices, as Senator Lemieux has outlined. And let me take this opportunity to thank you, Senator, for the help you have given me. I could not expect more, and I thank you so very much for all of your help. As Senator Lemieux outlined, there were choices made by the people who were here before us. Every single generation of American was asked to choose whether they wanted to continue to be special or whether they wanted our country to become just like everybody else. And every single generation before us chose to be special. And that choice came with actions. It wasn't just we want to be special. Every single generation was asked to make sacrifices. Some go to war. Others rebuild our nation. Others lend their children to war. But every generation before us has stood before the challenges to our exceptionalism, have faced them, confronted them, and solved them. And because they did, we lead and live the life we do now. And now here we are, faced with the same question once again, but perhaps in a world as dangerous as it has ever been, and with challenges to our exceptionalism domestically as great as any we have ever faced. Here's the bottom line with no offense towards anyone. Whether it's by design or by incompetence, the people in charge of the American government today are leading us on a road that will rob us of everything that makes us special. It's very simple. If we stay on this road we're on right now, if we continue to do the things that they are doing now in Washington, this nation will not continue to be exceptional, period. We will lose the things that make us unique, that help us stand apart from the rest of the world. And that's what this election's about. This election is not a choice between simply a Republican and a Democrat and an opportunist. This election is a referendum on our identity. That's what you're being asked to answer here, is who do you want to continue to be? Do you want to become like every other country? Because if we stay on this road, we will. Or do you want to continue to be special? And if we want to continue to be special, we have to stop doing some of the things they're doing right now. And that's what this election's about. It is a referendum on our identity. I'm often asked, why'd you get into this race? And of course the answer is because I wanted to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm kidding. I'm joking. You have to be there 2 weeks to do that. But I'm often, look, I get it. A year and a half ago, even a year ago at this time when I came to this meeting, I was trailing badly in the polls, and I'll be blunt, I mean, I understood. Running against the incumbent governor in your own party, in your own state, is not the next logical step up the political ladder. I understood that then, and I still do now. I got into this race because at least for me personally, this idea that America is special and unique is not something that I read about in a book. It isn't some article I picked up in a magazine or even a talking point that I lifted out of a focus group. I know it firsthand. I'm a generation removed from a very different life. My parents were born into a society pretty much like every other society in the world, where if you're not born to the right family and you don't come from the right social circle, there's only so far you can go. That's the way it is in almost everywhere else in the world. I hope we all understand that. It isn't like this everywhere else. In almost every other country on this planet, if your parents are not the right people, whatever that means, you can only go so far. And think about how different that is from the place I grew up in. I don't ever remember feeling limited by anything. I don't ever remember feeling because my last name ends in a vowel, because my dad was a bartender, my mom was a maid, and they were born in another country, that there were things I couldn't do. I never remember feeling limited by any of that. And rightfully so. Because I was privileged to be born a citizen of a place, unlike any other in all of human history. And now we're being asked to choose whether we want to keep that, or whether we want to become like the place my parents came from, or the place your parents, or grandparents, or great-grandparents, or great-great-grandparents came from. Sometimes we take things that we have in our life for granted. We don't fully appreciate things until they're gone. We've experienced that with people that we love. And maybe that's what's happening now with our country. Have we reached a point as a people where we have forgotten how special this place truly is? This notion that somehow it's just always going to be here no matter what decisions we make or fail to make? Have we reached the point where we think that somehow this country will just continue to be special just because? I hope not, because it won't. That's what this election's about in 2010. It's the reason why I'm running for the U.S. Senate. It's the reason why I'm so proud to be the Republican nominee, and it's the reason why I know that in November, just 7 weeks from this Tuesday, not only will we win this U.S. Senate seat, but we will win every single seat on this cabinet, and God willing, take majorities in at least one, if not both of the chambers in Washington, so that we can once again have a chance to do what every generation of American before us has done. Stand up and fight, so that our children inherit what they deserve to inherit. The single greatest society in all of human history. Thank you.